Hello, and thank you for joining me today on God's Messenger. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and the bell notification so you'll know new videos coming out. Okay, so uh, the if you read the title, you understand what I'm talking about at this moment. The church is doing us a disservice, a huge disservice, especially the black churches. Why? Well, first of all, because uh, when I was active in the Baptist church, um, and I saw, just like every black church in the world, as far as I know, you'll see children that begin at an early age being introduced to the church. And instead of those children being taught the truth about things, when it's most important as they're developing, that someday they're going to be adults, they're already starting out with an inferiority complex because of the teachings of the church. What do I mean? When they look on the wall and they see a picture of Jesus with blonde hair and blue eyes, they know that's not them. That's not their people. That the people that they're reading about in the Bible is not their people. So they grow up feeling like these stories that they're hearing um, about life are not their people, are somebody else's people, right? So they're not recognizing that, their possibilities are not only what they see in the neighborhood, that the people they're looking up to are maybe drug dealers or criminals or this, that, and the other. They're not understanding that actually they come from kings and queens. Actually, they come from people who started civilization. And actually, the people that are reading about in the Bible, in the Torah, and in the Quran, the people they're reading about are their people, look like them. This is where they come from. And I'm sure when the first slave ships came over and they were trying to break these people to make them into slaves, our ancestors, right? So first thing they did was they took away their language. They took away their their name. They took away their religion. If you remember the movie Roots with Kunta Kinte, he said that was his name, and they beat him until it would admit that his name from now on was going to be Toby. If you remember that scene, very powerful scene. Okay, so I'm sure that our ancestors were thinking that someday, our generations, as we go along, someday we're not going to put up with this. We're not going to accept this. And so I'm sure after the first generation, many people died, got beat to death and things like that. The next generation that came up, they were not as strong on it as the generation before them because they saw what happened to them. And eventually, once they got through 3 or 4 generations, then it got accepted by people. People started accepting that this was their religion. This was their truth. And it was a lie. Okay? So they would probably be very upset, turning over in their graves right now to know that their future generations are accepting of what was beaten into them, what was stopping them, that we have accepted that and embraced that through the church, okay, and through society, the lies. And we're doing them a disservice by not acknowledging what happened and not acknowledging the truth of the situation, and then, of course, then how we're going to be able to move forward with that truth. Letting our children know that they can walk tall with their head high through any neighborhood or any place in the world, because they come from something. They come from greatness. They don't come from trash. So this is very important to the development of young people, to know that they have no limits in this world, that their ancestors were inventors and and the starters of civilization. Okay? So let's not continue to do a disservice to our young people. Let that stop right now. Let us make them understand what they come from. Okay? And so this is my point. You know, when I was going to those churches I told you about, I remember one in particular, and I asked the pastor of the church, I said, you know, right now our children need to be uplifted and strengthened as a society, you know, and it would help a lot if they knew that these people that you're teaching us about in the Bible were their people. I said, you know that, right? And he said, yes. I said, well, why don't you teach that? He said, because it's not my job to do that. I would lose my job if I told the truth. Well, for me, that wasn't good enough. And that was enough reason for me never to go to that church ever again. Because I want the truth. Let me deal with it. Let me assimilate that and try to figure out what it is that I want to do with the truth. But give me the truth. Don't give me the lies that you think that I need. Give me the truth. And that's what I'm here to do. Give you the truth. The insults people making online, you know, directed towards me, listen, I'm just fine. Okay. I took the slave chains that were around my ancestors' neck, I turned to diamonds and gold. Okay. That's my, you know, my tribute, you know, to my ancestors. You know, that, and I hope a lot more things. But the insults that the people are trying to make online, this, that, and the other, I don't care. I'm going to keep on telling the truth. Obviously, the truth hurts. Obviously, it bothers you. If not, what's the insults for? Anyway, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification. A lot more coming. Change is coming. We're going to make it happen. Got to start with the youngest. That's our future. Peace.